AITA for cutting off my entitled brother and parents after years of being there. ATM. Mocked at my niece's birthday despite paying for everything. I finally walked out, stopped funding their luxury BS, and blocked them. Chaos ensued. Brother lost his business. Wife left him. But years later, my niece found me to say thanks for secretly funding her future. The balloons were too pink. That's the first thing I noticed when I pulled up to my parents' house. Those stupid, shiny pink balloons tied to the porch railing, bobbing in the wind like they were laughing at me. I killed the engine and sat there for a second, staring at the glittery sign hanging over the door. Happy birthday, Princess Sophie. The I in Sophie was dotted with a heart. Of course it was. My hands were sweating. Not because of the heat, though July in Arizona was basically standing in Satan's armpit. No, it was the gift sitting in my passenger seat. A wooden playhouse I'd spent 3 months building by hand. Sanded every edge. Painted tiny flower boxes under the windows. Even rigged battery-powered fairy lights inside, because Sophie loved anything that glowed. It was stupid. I was stupid. I grabbed the playhouse, the wood rough under my palms, and hauled it out of the car. The bag of presents dangled from my elbow, crinkling like it was judging me. The front yard was quiet, but I could hear kids shrieking in the backyard. Sophie's laugh cut through the noise, bright and clear. For half a second, I almost smiled. Then the screen door creaked open. Alex. My mom stood there in her mint green cardigan, arms crossed like I'd shown up to rob the place. The smell of vanilla cake wafted out behind her. She didn't step aside. Hey, I said, shifting the playhouse higher. Can you? She didn't move, just kept staring at my wrinkled t-shirt and messy bun. You're late. Traffic on the 10. A lie. I'd circled the block twice, debating whether to bail. Behind her, my brother Ethan materialized like a bad smell. He leaned against the doorframe, all slick back hair and a polo shirt 2 sizes too tight to show off his gym gains. His grin was all teeth. Look who finally crawled out of her cave. You get lost in a YouTube tutorial again? Or were you too busy writing? He air quoted it, like writing was a punchline, to show up on time. I clenched my jaw. I'm here now. Yeah, looking like you rolled out of a dumpster. He snorted, glancing at the playhouse. What's that? A birdhouse for meth-head pigeons. It's for Sophie. She's 6, not homeless. My mom sighed, like I was the one starting this. Just come in, Alex. But try to act normal, okay? The Andersons are here. Normal, right? Because in my family, normal meant pretending Ethan wasn't a walking midlife crisis. Meant ignoring that his gourmet food truck business, which I'd loaned him $20,000 to start, was currently parked in his driveway with a for sale sign slapped on it. Meant smiling while he called me a loser for working from home, even though my freelance gigs paid his kids' ballet lessons. I followed them inside, the playhouse scraping the doorframe. The living room was all Pinterest-perfect chaos. Streamers, a balloon arch, a cake taller than Sophie. Through the sliding glass door, I saw her dart across the yard, a blur of pink tutu and tangled curls. My throat tightened. What do you want this? I nodded at the playhouse. Ethan smirked. Backyard, I guess. Unless you want to put it in the loser corner with your career prospects. Ethan, my mom hissed, but there was no heat in it. Just habit. I carried the playhouse outside, my arms shaking. The heat hit me like a brick, but the kids didn't care. They were too busy whacking a piñata. Sophie froze when she saw me, her eyes lighting up. Uncle Alex. She sprinted over, and for a second, I thought she'd hug me. Instead, she skidded to a stop, staring at the playhouse. Is that for me? Yeah, kiddo. I made it. So cool. She poked her head inside, giggling when the lights flickered on. Look, Daddy, Uncle Alex built me a castle. Ethan hovered behind me, his cologne smothering the air. Uh-huh, real nice. He lowered his voice. You know she'll get bored of it in a week, right? Should have just bought her an iPad. I ignored him, watching Sophie drag her friends over to show off the playhouse. At least it's not a tax write-off. His smile died. What's that supposed to mean? The food truck, I said, turning to face him. The one I paid for. How's that going? His eye twitched. Temporary setback. I've got investors lined up. Investors? I barked out a laugh. You mean Mom and Dad's retirement fund? Jealous I've got charisma? Must be hard hiding behind a laptop all day. He leaned in, his breath hot and sour. Face it, Alex. You're just a family ATM. No one actually wants you here. The words shouldn't have stung. Not after years of this crap. But they did. Maybe because part of me knew he was right. I turned to leave, but he grabbed my arm. Where you going? Party's just getting started. Home. Aw, don't be a baby. His grip tightened. You're paying for the caterers, remember? I froze. He laughed. Oh, you forgot? Mom said you offered. Air quotes again. Guess that's what happens when you're too busy being a hermit. The pieces clicked. The fancy cake. The rented bounce house. The taco guy handing out $15 guac like it was candy. All of it my money. Again. Sophie ran past us, clutching a sparkly wand. Daddy, watch me. She waved it, giggling when glitter rained down. Ethan's smirk was a knife. Better stick around, sis. Wouldn't want Sophie's big day to get ruined. Something inside me snapped. I yanked my arm free. Pay for it yourself. His face went slack. What? You heard me. I walked toward the gate, my pulse roaring in my ears. Alex, get back here, he shouted. You can't just. I didn't look back. Didn't stop when my mom called my name. Didn't flinch when Ethan screamed, "You're dead to me, you selfish bitch." The kids went quiet. Sophie's wand clattered to the ground. I kept walking. By the time I hit the freeway, my phone was blowing up, 27 missed calls, an avalanche of texts. I tossed it into the back seat and white-knuckled the steering wheel. Let him explain to the taco guy. Let him sweat. But as I passed the exit from my apartment, I didn't take it. Instead, I drove to the desert, the playhouse still in my trunk. I left it under a mesquite tree, the fairy lights glowing in the dark like a middle finger to the universe. When I got home, I poured a whiskey, opened my laptop, and deleted every draft of the novel I'd been writing about family. Turns out, real life was tragic enough. The first voicemail was from Mom. Alex, call me back. Ethan's furious. You can't just leave us hanging like this. Her voice was sharp, like I'd canceled a dentist appointment instead of torpedoing my brother's ego. I deleted it. The second was Dad. Sweetheart, let's talk. Family's family, right? He sounded tired. He always sounded tired. Ethan probably had him on speakerphone, coaching him like a hostage. Delete. The third was Ethan. Pick up your goddamn phone, you coward. You think this is funny? I've got vendors calling me. You're gonna pay for this. His scream cracked on the last word. I imagined him red-faced, pacing the living room in his stupid polo, the one with the grease stain he'd never admit was from last week's drive-through meltdown. Delete. By the fourth day, the text had devolved into chaos. Mom, we're your parents. Show some respect. Dad, your mother's not sleeping. Please, Alex. Ethan, I'll take you to court. I swear to God. I blocked their numbers. All of them. Even Dad's. Then I ordered a pizza, dumped half a bottle of hot sauce on it, and ate it standing at the kitchen counter like a feral raccoon. Freedom tasted like heartburn and regret. But then my doorbell rang at 9 p.m., and I almost choked on a pepperoni. Alex, it's Clara. Ethan's wife. Her voice was muffled through the door, but I'd know that shaky Midwest accent anywhere. Clara was the human equivalent of a live, laugh, love sign, polite, painted in beige, and secretly miserable. I didn't move. I brought something. For you. I opened the door a crack. She stood there holding a Ziploc bag of chocolate chip cookies, her eyes puffy. No Ethan in sight. He doesn't know I'm here, she said quickly. I stared at the cookies. Poison. She flinched. What? No. I want to say I'm sorry for how they treated you at the party. I almost laughed. They? Her cheeks flushed. I tried to stop him, but you know how he gets. Yeah, like a rabid chihuahua with a god complex. I took the cookies. Thanks. She lingered, twisting her wedding ring. He's not doing great. The food truck's gone. The bank repossessed it yesterday. I bit into a cookie, and he's blaming you. Says you ruined his credit. His credit was ruined when he bought that gold-plated grill for the truck. My money just delayed the funeral. She blinked, like it hadn't occurred to her that $20,000 doesn't fix a moron. He thought you'd bail him out again. We all did. The cookie turned to ash in my mouth. We all did, of course, because I was the family's human band-aid. Stretch me over their problems until I frayed. Why are you really here, Clara? She hesitated, then pulled a folded paper from her purse. Sophie's drawing. A stick figure me holding a giant playhouse. The words my Uncle Alex scrawled in wobbly crayon. She made this after you left, Clara whispered. Ethan threw it away. I fished it out of the trash. My chest tightened. I stared at the playhouse I'd built, now reduced to a lopsided rectangle in a child's memory. Does she ask about me? Every day. I shoved the drawing back at her. Don't. Alex, tell her I'm dead. Tell her I joined the circus. I don't care. I started to shut the door, but Clara jammed her foot in the gap. He's selling the house, she blurted. Our house. To pay the debts. We're moving in with your parents next week. Good. Let him rot in his childhood bedroom, staring at his participation trophies. Not my problem. Sophie's scared. She doesn't understand why we're leaving her room. Then explain it to her. Daddy's a failure, and Uncle Alex is tired of being his piggy bank. Clara's face crumpled. You're cruel. No, I said. I'm done. I slammed the door, leaned against it, listened to her quiet sobs fade down the hallway. The cookies tasted like guilt. The next morning, I drove to Ethan's neighborhood, not to apologize, to gloat. His food truck, Eats on the Streets, was still parked in the driveway, but now it had a bright orange repo sticker slapped on the windshield. The front yard was littered with soggy moving boxes. Through the living room window, I saw Ethan pacing, phone pressed to his ear, wild gestures, probably yelling at some poor customer service rep about his rights. Then Sophie appeared, dragging a stuffed unicorn across the lawn. She stopped when she saw me, her eyes widening. Uncle Alex. I rolled down the window. Hey, kiddo. She ran over, her shoes untied. Daddy said you're mean now. Daddy's a liar. She tilted her head. Are you going to fix my playhouse? My stomach dropped. What? Daddy broke it. He said it was garbage. Of course he did. I pictured him taking a hammer to it. That same petty rage he'd had when we were kids. When I built that treehouse in the backyard and he'd accidentally set it on fire with Roman candles. I'm sorry, sophomore. She shrugged. Sockeye. I drew you a new one. She pulled a crumpled paper from her pocket. Another stick figure playhouse. This one with a smiley sun above it. See? It's happy now. I took the drawing. Forced a smile. Thanks, kid. Ethan stormed out of the house then, face purple. Sophie, get inside. She jumped, dropping her unicorn. But Daddy, now. She scurried away, shooting me a tiny wave. Ethan marched up to my car, fists clenched. You got a death wish? Coming here. I held up Sophie's drawing. You're a real class act, Ethan. He snatched it, crumpled it, and threw it in my face. You don't get to play hero. Not after what you did. What I did. You blew through my money like it was Monopoly cash. You owed me. Spit flew from his lips. All those years, I had to listen to Mom and Dad brag about your potential, your big future, while I scraped by. Scraped by? You bought a boat. A fishing boat. For bonding. With who? The Loch Ness Monster? You hate the water. He slammed his hands on my hood. You think you're better than me? You're nothing. A nobody. You'll die alone in that apartment, and no one will care. I revved the engine. Move. Make me. So I did. I inched the car forward, tires crunching gravel. He held his ground, sweating through his shirt. For a split second, I wondered if he'd let me run him over. But at the last moment, he jumped back, screaming curses as I peeled out. That night, I dug out the key to my parents' house, the one they'd given me for emergencies, and threw in the trash. Then I opened my laptop and transferred $5,000 into a new savings account. For Sophie, 18th birthday. Do not let Ethan touch this. But as I hit confirm, my hands shook. Because part of me knew, no matter how many accounts I opened, no matter how many times I blocked their numbers, Sophie would always be the loose thread. The one thing I couldn't cut. I fell asleep on the couch, Sophie's drawing taped to the fridge. When I woke up, Ethan had texted from a new number. You win. Happy? I deleted it, drank cold coffee, told myself I didn't care. But later, I drove back to the desert. The playhouse was still there, toppled over, fairy lights shattered. I sat next to it until the sun went down, Sophie's crumpled drawing in my hand. When the coyotes started howling, I left. Some ghosts just won't stay buried. The savings account for Sophie haunted me. I'd stare at the confirmation email, $5,000 deposited, and wonder if I'd just become the thing I hated, a sucker. A week after setting it up, I broke my own rule and texted Clara. Meet me at the park. Tell no one. She showed up in sunglasses and a hoodie, like we were drug dealers. Sophie played on the swings nearby, her laughter drifting over like a taunt. Clara sat next to me on the bench, hands clenched. If Ethan finds out I'm here. He won't. I slid her a burner phone. Use this. Only for Sophie. If he answers, hang up. She stared at it. Why are you doing this? Because she's 6 and doesn't deserve to eat ramen because her dad's a clown. Clara's lips quivered. He's not. He's just a clown, I repeated, with a gold-plated spatula and a YouTube channel. She flinched. Ethan's latest venture was Ethan's Kitchen Nightmares, where he ranted about haters and cancel culture ruining his food truck. The comments were a graveyard of laughing emojis and dude, take a shower. Clara tucked the phone into her purse. She asks about you. Every night. Tell her I'm busy. Busy doing what? Building a time machine to strangle my teenage self. None of your business. Sophie sprinted over then, grass stains on her knees. Mommy, watch me do a cartwheel. She flopped onto her hands, legs splaying like a drunk starfish. Amazing, Clara said, too loud. Sophie beamed at me. Uncle Alex, want to try? I froze. My back's messed up. From sitting too much, Clara muttered. Sophie shrugged. Okay, bye. She galloped back to the swings, blissfully unaware she was the only good thing in this family. Clara stood. I should go. Wait. I handed her an envelope. College fund details. Don't let Ethan near it. She tucked it away like contraband. He'll find out eventually. Then lie. She hesitated. You're different now. Yeah, I said. I'm awake. The flashback hit me that night, sharp and sudden. 14 years old, hunched over the family computer. I'd coded a website overnight, a forum for indie game developers. My fingers flew, heart racing. This was it. My ticket out. My proof I wasn't just Ethan's weirdo sister. The door slammed open. Ethan, 17 and reeking of weed, leaned over my shoulder. What's this? Nerds Anonymous? It's a community. For creators. He snorted. Losers, you mean? He reached past me, fingers jabbing the keyboard. Let's make it fun. Stop. I shoved him, but he just laughed, deleting lines of code. The screen glitched, pixels bleeding into chaos. Whoops. Guess your community's trash. Mom appeared in the doorway. Ethan, dinners. Alex, what's wrong? She's crying over a computer, he said, grinning. Typical. Mom sighed. Honey, go wash up. Real life's in the kitchen. Real life. Where Ethan's burnt casserole got a standing ovation and my website got a funeral. I jerked awake, sweat-soaked, the glow of my laptop searing my retinas. The novel I'd been writing, a thinly veiled family drama, glared back. I highlighted the file. Delete. The doorbell rang. Ethan stood on my porch, eyes bloodshot, reeking of cheap whiskey. Need a loan? I laughed. Wrong house. He shoved past me, collapsing onto the couch. The bank's being a dick. Mom and Dad's inheritance fund is untouchable. Air quotes. Like it was a conspiracy. I crossed my arms. And I need $5,000. Just till the YouTube checks roll in. Your last video got 12 views. 3 were me hate watching. He lurched up, swaying. You owe me. For what? Ruining my childhood. For existing, he roared. You think I wanted a sister who made me look like a joke? Who got all the fucking potential talks? Potential? I stepped closer. You got the car, the college fund, the praise for breathing. I got stopped typing, Alex, it's annoying. He grabbed my shirt. Give me the money. I didn't flinch. No. His fist swung. I ducked, and he stumbled into the bookshelf, sending my coding trophies crashing. One shattered, second place, Hackathon 2016. He stared at the shards. You kept these? To remind me who I was. I kicked the debris aside. Before you. He sank to the floor, suddenly small. I'm sorry, okay? A lie. I'd heard it 1,000 times. After he'd totaled Dad's car. After he'd borrowed my scholarship money. After he'd made me the villain for existing. Get out. He didn't move. Sophie's scared of me. Good. She should be. His head snapped up. You're a monster. Takes one to know one. He left then, taking half my whiskey with him. I swept up the trophy shards, each piece sharp enough to draw blood. The next morning, Mom called from a block number. Your brother's in the hospital. My coffee cup paused midair. Drunk or dramatic? He tried to fix the sink at our house. Flooded the kitchen. Your father's back gave out, carrying him to the ER. Sounds on brand. She hissed. How can you be so cold? Learn from the best. Silence. Then softer. We need you. I hung up. But that night, I drove to the hospital. Not for Ethan. Not for Mom. I stood in the parking lot, watching Sophie through a window. She sat in Clara's lap, coloring while Ethan snored in a bed nearby. Safe. For now. Clara glanced up, spotting me. She nodded once. I nodded back. Then I left Sophie's newest drawing, a lopsided heart, taped to my dashboard. Some debts you can't repay, but you can stop borrowing. Ethan's hospital stunt was the last straw for Clara. She showed up at my apartment 2 days later, Sophie clinging to her leg like a shadow. The kid looked smaller, her eyes wide and wary. I hadn't seen her since the park, and now here she was, holding a crayon masterpiece of a stick figure family. Ethan scribbled out in black. We're leaving, Clara said, voice steady for once. Tonight. My sister's in Denver. but I need gas money. I lean against the doorframe, arms crossed. And you're asking me because you're the only one he hasn't bankrupted. Sophie peered up at me. Mommy says we're going on a trip. Are you coming? Clara winced. Sweetie, wait in the car. But I want to show Uncle Alex my picture. She thrust the drawing at me. See? That's you and me and Mommy. And Daddy's gone. She mimed erasing him with her fist. I took the paper. The paper was heavy, like a subpoena. Cute. Clara knelt, tugging Sophie's jacket zipper. Go pick a song for the drive. Frozen again, okay. Sophie skipped off, oblivious to the grenade Clara was about to toss. She's not sleeping, Clara whispered. Last night, Ethan trashed the house looking for cash. He thought I was hiding it in her piggy bank. I stared at the drawing. Sophie's version of me had a smile. I hadn't smiled in years. How much? 500. I'll pay you back. Don't. I pulled out my wallet, shoved a stack of 20s into her hand. Keep the phone I gave you. And if Ethan follows you, call the cops. Not Mom and Dad. She pocketed the money, trembling. He'll blame you. He blames me for the weather. A horn honked downstairs. Sophie, mashing the steering wheel. Clara flinched. I should go. I stepped aside. Don't crash. She paused. You could say goodbye to her, you know. I glanced at the car. Sophie waved, grinning like we were co-conspirators. She'll forget me in a week. Clara's jaw tightened. You're just like him, afraid to care. The door slammed. I watched them drive off, Sophie's drawing crumpling in my fist. The voicemail started at midnight. Mom, Clara's gone. Ethan's hysterical. This is your fault. Dad, Alex, we need to talk. Family sticks together. Ethan, where are they? I'll kill you. I blocked each new number, drank bourbon, played Frozen on loop to drown him out. He showed up at 3 a.m., battering my door like a SWAT team. Open up, you bitch. I know you have them. I peered through the peephole. He was barefoot, shirt stained with what I hoped was ketchup. I chain-locked the door and cracked it open. Lost something. He lunged, slamming against the chain. Where's Sophie? Somewhere you'll never hit her. His face contorted. She's mine. Yeah? Then act like it. He sagged against the door, suddenly sobbing. Please, I can't. I need them back. For a heartbeat, he looked like the brother who'd taught me to ride a bike. The one who'd sneak me candy after Mom's lectures. Then I remembered him setting fire to my bike when I outgrew him. I slid a photo under the door. Sophie's crayon family, him erased. They're better off. He went still. Then he erupted, kicking the door until the frame splintered. I'll burn your life down. You hear me? Burn it. I called 911. He fled before the cops came, leaving a single sneaker behind. Mom and Dad ambushed me at the grocery store. How dare you? Mom hissed, blocking the cereal aisle. Clara left because of you. Dad hovered behind her, clutching a loaf of bread like a shield. Let's talk at home, sweetheart. I grabbed a box of Lucky Charms. Move. Mom snatched it, hurling it to the floor. Marshmallows scattered like shrapnel. You owe us. After everything we sacrificed. Sacrificed. I laughed. You gave Ethan my college fund to bond with Dad. You know what they bonded over? Tequila and Hooters. Shopper stared. Dad flushed. That's not. We didn't. Mom stepped closer, trembling. Fix this. Bring Clara back. Or what? You'll disown me. I grabbed another box. Too late. She slapped me. The sound echoed. My cheek burned. For a second, we were both stunned. Then I smiled. Feel better? She burst into tears. Dad pulled her away, muttering apologies to the crowd. I paid for the cereal, walked to my car, and sat there, gripping the steering wheel until my knuckles cracked. That night, I found Ethan on my balcony. He'd pried the sliding door open, reeking of gas station vodka. In his hand, Sophie's stuffed unicorn. She forgot Mr. Sparkles, he slurred, waving it like a white flag. I stayed in the doorway. Leave it and go. He stumbled forward. Remember when she was born? You held her first. Said she looked like a raisin. I said she looked like you. Hence the raisin. He hiccuped, tears cutting through the grime on his face. I messed up, okay? I'm sorry. The old Alex might have caved. Offered a couch, a loan, a lifeline. But the old Alex died in that desert with the playhouse. I tossed him a blanket. Sleep it off. You're gone by dawn. He collapsed onto the couch, clutching the unicorn. You're still a shitty sister. And you're still a fire hazard. I locked myself in my room, laptop humming. The college fund notification glowed on screen. $10,000 deposited. Double what I'd planned. In the living room, Ethan snored like a chainsaw. I opened a new document. Not a novel. A letter. Dear Sophie. At sunrise, Ethan was gone. So was the whiskey. But on the fridge, he'd left Mr. Sparkles in a note. Tell her I tried. I burned the note. Kept the unicorn. When the smoke alarm stopped screaming, I texted Clara, stay gone. She replied with a photo, Sophie, grinning in a Denver diner, syrup smeared ear to ear. I saved it, deleted the thread. Then I drove to the bank, withdrew every dollar I'd lent Ethan over the years, and dumped the cash into a shredder. The teller gaped. Sir, are you celebrating? The machine roared, swallowing the past. Some fires you don't put out. You just walk away. The first year was the hardest. Not because I missed them, I didn't. But because every time my phone buzzed, every time someone knocked, I'd flinch, half expecting Ethan's rage or mom's guilt to come crashing through. I stopped answering the door, got a P.O. box, bought noise-canceling headphones. Sophie's college fund hit $20,000. I never touched it, not even when my car died, and I ate ramen for a month. That money wasn't mine. It was a time capsule, a screw you in compound interest. Then, on a Tuesday, the letter came. Alex, your father's sick. Cancer. He won't admit it, but he wants to see you. Please, for once, don't be stubborn. Mom, I burned it in the sink. Watch the ashes swirl down the drain. Not my circus, not my chemo. But 2 days later, Dad showed up. He looked smaller, but hunched in a coat 2 sizes too big. He stood in my hallway, clutching a grocery bag of photos. Thought you might want these. I didn't invite him in. Ethan send you? He doesn't know I'm here. He set the bag down. Inside, my baby pictures, my coding trophies, a dry corsage from prom. Junk they kept but never displayed. Your mother, she's struggling. Join the club. He flinched. She loves you. She loves Ethan. I'm just the audience. He reached for me, hand trembling. Alex, don't. I stepped back. If you're dying, say it. He stared at the floor. The treatments, they're rough. I waited for the guilt to hit. For the little girl who'd once glued macaroni to Father's Day cards to crack. But all I felt was tired. I'm sorry. His eyes lit up. Sorry you wasted your last years cleaning up Ethan's messes. The light died. He left without another word, the photos still at my feet. I shoved the bag in the closet. Didn't sleep. A week later, the knock came again. I opened the door, ready to scream. But it wasn't Dad. It was Sophie. 18, all legs and wild curls, wearing a faded unicorn t-shirt and a smirk. Hey, stranger. My heart stopped. How'd you find me? Clara. She held up a burner phone, the one I'd given her mom a lifetime ago. Also, you're literally in the phone book. That's a lie. Okay, I bribed the PI mom hired to stalk you. Happy. She shouldered past me, dropping onto the couch. Nice place. Very serial killer chic. I stared. She sounded like me. Looked like me. The same crooked grin, the same stubborn chin. Why are you here? She pulled out a folded paper, her old crayon drawing of us. You funded my escape. Figured I'd thank you. I didn't do it for thanks. I know. You did it 'cause you're softy. She tossed me a USB drive. Mom's idea. Footage of Ethan's greatest hits. Thought you'd enjoy it. I pocketed it. How is she? Divorced. Happy. Teaches kindergarten. Sophie stood, wandering to the fridge. She paused at the photo of her syrup smile in Denver. You kept this. Accident. She rolled her eyes. Liar. We ordered pizza. She talked about college, her psych major, her shitty dorm. Didn't mention Ethan once. Then, as she left, she handed me a key. Mom's cabin in Colorado. In case you ever want to visit. I don't do nature. You don't do people. She hugged me, quick, fierce. Thanks for the money. And the playhouse. I froze. What playhouse? The one in the desert. I found it when I was 12. Dragged Mom out there. We fixed it up. She grinned, still standing. I shut the door, leaned against it, and cried. Ethan died 6 months later. Overdose in a motel bathroom. No note. Just a receipt for a gas station burrito and a half-empty bottle of vodka. Mom called. I didn't answer. But I went to the funeral. Stood in the back, under a sickly pine tree. Watched Mom sob into Dad's shoulder. He looked hollow, ghostly. Sophie spotted me, nodded. After, she handed me a dusty shoebox. His stuff. Mom said you'd want it. I opened it. Inside, my old coding medals. A photo of us as kids, mid-pillow fight. And a letter. Alex, if you're reading this, I lost. Don't gloat too hard. Tell Sophie off, fuck it. She's better off. I left the box on his grave. Kept the photo. That night, I drove to the desert. The playhouse was still there, weathered but upright. Solar lights now, a fresh coat of paint. Sophie's handiwork. Inside, on the wall, she'd carved. Uncle Alex was here. I sat until sunrise. Then I went home, booked a flight to Colorado, and packed the unicorn. Some choices aren't about forgiveness. They're about finally choosing yourself.